Good morning, everyone, and welcome again to this new HFiltration webinar. Thank you again for participating. I know that many of you have already participated to our previous episode, our previous webinar, so I'm glad about it. I'm glad that you are here again. So I hope that you will enjoy also this new webinar, and I hope that we will share some useful and good information about our product. So as usual, I will repeat it anyway. You already know the small little rule. We'll mute all your microphones. So when you have to do a question, when you have to know when you would like to have some question answered, just write down on the chat, and my colleague Martina will read the question, and we will try to answer to any question you will have. So today, new episode, we will talk about the Idrodust Compact. So we are in the dust and dry smoke business unit. So we are back to the dust world, let's say. But now here we have a model that works according to a different filtration principle compared to other filters like the pulsatron compact that you have seen in the last week's webinar. So this filter, as I was mentioning, works according to another principle. It means that you don't have any kind of filtering media inside, because this filter works with water inside and with a Venturi principle inside the Venturi throat that gives the chance to the filter to separate the dust and give you the air clean on the outlet of the filter. So as I was mentioning, the basic principle, I will tell you the basic principle, the working principle, how it works. I will tell you the components of the filter. We take a look of also some accessories, some optional that can give you a help in some cases. And later we take a look just a little bit deeper on how you have to maintain on the maintenance that you should do, and on the items, on the things that you should take care of when doing a maintenance to this filter. So basically, as I was mentioning earlier, the working principle is that you have your air coming inside in this part of the filter, okay? So in this part of the filter, you have an expansion chamber where the coarser particles falls down, and you start having a separation already in this expansion chamber. Later, what does the flow goes down, and it creates, you have water inside here, and the water and the airflow meets the water and creates in this part. Later I will show you closer, I will give you a closer look of this part. You will see, you will have the Venturi throat, where you will have a centrifugal movement where the water and the airflow creates this movement that allows the filter to separate the dust from the air, from the clean air. And so after the Venturi throat, you have the air without any dust inside that goes upwards in this part of the filter. You have another step before the outlet, which is the droplet separator, that gives you the chance to have the last droplets that can be in the airflow separated from the clean air. And so at the outlet, you have only clean air, basically. So just to give you an idea of the application, as I told you, we are in the dust and dry smoke application. Let's say that this kind of filter is suggestible and it is commonly used in those applications when you have sparks. So when you have the risk of fire, basically. So in all those, for instance, the boring machines where you can have sparks going out of the mechanical process, obviously with using a filter like this where you have water inside, you, let's say, reduce, well, no, not reduce, you take to zero the risk of fire. So basically this is the most commonly used application for this filter. And so this is basically what we suggest. And also the emission, we can tell that the level of emission, we are less in the region of less of 10 milligrams per normal cubic meter. So I would like to let you give a closer look to this part of the filter. So I ask please my colleague to come closer so that we can show you this part. Danny, can you come please? So I will tell you that just like the other filters, we can divide in different parts this filter. Let's say that for the hydrodust, we can easily divide the filter in the upper part and in the lower part. Okay, so let's start from the upper part. The upper part here, as I was telling you, you have the expansion chamber, which is in the, let's say, inlet part of the process. And then you have in the outlet part of the process here, you have the droplet separator, which, as I was telling you, allows you to separate the droplet from the airflow. This is the droplet separator that we have dismounted, so we can we can have a look later, just also for the maintenance stuff. And the last thing about the upper part of the filter, we have here a U-shaped differential manometer. This is useful because it gives you the idea of the correct level of water inside the filter. Later, I will tell you in more detail how you should take a look at this pressure differential to understand if the level of water is correct inside the filter, because I anticipate to you that the level of water in the hydrodust filter, is the key element. It's a filter that is really efficient. I mean, it's a really good filter, but it is really sensitive to the level of water. So when the level of water is not correct, the filter is not working properly. So you can have problems in terms of aspiration, in terms of outlet. So you don't have a correct filtration. You don't have that correct process that you need. So the level of water is the key element. Keep in mind that this filter is sensitive to the level of water. Later, we take a look on how you should maintain this level of water. So going back to the components of the filter, in the lower part, we have, let's start from here. Here we have the visual indicator of the water level, as I was telling you. It goes back again. So the water level here, you can see visually what is the water level inside. And here, I just take a step back. Here you have the heart of the filter. You have where the filtration process, where this separation really occurs. So you have the Venturi throat. And here we have this hatch, this inspection hatch, which is also transparent. From this hatch, you have the chance to see if the centrifugal movement, if the centrifugal process inside is good, if it's working properly, if you have a good centrifugal effect here. You can take a look from here. Actually, there is also in the back another panel which is transparent, and you can take a look also from there. And there is also this transparent panel from the other side of the filter, and this is also useful when you have to do the maintenance of the Venturi throat, because obviously you have to clean this Venturi throat. And okay, so we have also, I will tell you that these are all, this I will tell you later. And we have in the back the overflow valve. So when the level of the water is too high, there is an overflow valve. Now it's not easy to show you, but in the back there is an overflow valve that avoids the water level to go too much higher. Okay, then lower again lower, there is a valve that you can open to empty the tank, because every once in a while you have to empty the tank, or again to let that the filter have the correct level of water. In some cases, if you realize that you have too much water inside, you need to open that valve, and you have to let some water go out in order to restabilize the correct water level inside the filter. One other important thing, which I think is really important, it's here in the front of the filter. Here, sorry, in this part of the filter, because here the filter has to be connected to the water main. What does it mean? It means that that you need to have always water flow for this filter, because obviously you have to reintegrate water during the process of the filtration process, because obviously the filter when it's working, let's say in a normal operating condition, you need to have more or less 100 liters per day of reintegration of water. How does it work, this reintegration? You have here the inlet of the water mains, and inside now it's obviously difficult to show you. There is a ball valve, okay? So this valve, when you set this valve, well, let's say that we normally provide the ball valve already at a certain level. We set it at a certain level. But anyway, you should obviously do your trying. And when you find the correct level of water, you set this float valve. And when the float valve, let's say, detects that the water level is going low, is too low, obviously there is here another valve. It's a check valve, which opens when the ball valve, let's say, tells the check valve that the water level is too low, and so the water can go inside and can top up the water level and can reintegrate those water that is missing inside the filter. So this is obviously a key element, and never forget to have water connected, flowing water connected to the filter. Now, let's say that more or less regarding the key components, we have said everything. Now, I would like just to talk to you briefly about some accessory that we can put and then we can provide in some cases if it's needed. So let's start from here. We have two flanges. One flange is for an accessory that is used to heat the water inside the filter. Why? Because obviously this filter is suitable to be used outside, but obviously you imagine that there is water inside. So if the temperature goes below zero, obviously there is the risk of the water freezing. So through this valve, you can connect a heater. A heater is resistant 3,000 watts, if I remember correctly. So it gives you the chance to heat the water inside the filter, so you don't risk to have frozen water basically inside the filter, and you can put it outside even if there is the risk to go below zero. So second flange, also here next to the other flange. Here you can connect the level detector. So it means that it's a detector that can give an alarm when the water level is going too low. And obviously this is only a detector, okay? So it gives you the alarm. It can tell you that the water level is not okay, but it doesn't regulate the water level, okay? So it's just an alarm, it's just an indicator. So another accessory, we have basically two other main accessories that we can add to this filter. One accessory is the automatic sludge remover, which is on here we have it, and it's on the other part of the filter. So basically, this is an automatic sludge remover. So when you have a lot of sludge creating during the mechanical process, you can automatically discharge. There is here the mechanism that allows this automatic sludge remover to remove all the sludge that otherwise you should do manually from this inspection hatch with a special scraper that we provide together with the filter. So you can choose, basically you have the possibility also to add an automatic discharge, a sludge remover, an automatic remover for this sludge. So this is the first main accessory that we can add. The other main accessory that we can add, in my view, obviously, is the Venturi pump. Now the Venturi pump, here we don't have it, but basically it's an accessory. It's a recirculating pump on a tank, on a 25-liter tank, which is connected through this flange. Okay, so you have the tank connected to this flange to the filter, and then important, connected also to this connection, because this connection allows the filter and the tank to have the same pressure. So it balances the pressure of the filter and the tank, so that you can have a recirculation of the pump. Because otherwise, if you don't connect, if you don't balance the two pressures, the pump puts the water inside the filter, but the water, it doesn't go back to the tank, so you don't have this recirculation. So you have really important. This is really important. You have to balance the pressures of the tank and of the filter. And so this pump, what does this pump do? This pump, let's say, let the water flow on a venturi that is put on the filter, and it gives a pre-filtration. So let's say that when you have a process when you have a lot of dust, when it's needed a pre-filtration stage, you can add this venturi pump that through some nozzles gives a pre-wash to the dust. Okay, so let's say that you add a second step of filtration basically. So this is the other point which is important to keep in mind, that you have the possibility of. So basically, in terms of components, let's say that compared to other filters, there are more components, but it's not difficult. I mean, just you need just to take in mind that there are some things to keep in mind. But basically, the functioning of the filter is quite simple. As you have seen, that there is no filtering media. Basically, it's only carpentry, basically. So now let's take a look a little bit closer to what you should be aware of when planning a maintenance, when also not only planning a maintenance, but let's say checking the correct functioning of the filter. So let's start from the water level. As I was mentioning, this filter is really sensitive to water level. Why? Because let's say that when you have the correct water level inside, there is the correct movement, there is the correct centrifugal effect inside the venturi pump, because there is the correct amount of water, there is a correct mixing of water and air inside the venturi pump. So the filter works properly. Otherwise, if you don't have enough water, let's say that you have a low level of water, the centrifugal process doesn't occur at all. So because you don't have because if you don't have enough water, there is no, let's say no space for the air to mix with water. So you basically will not have any kind of separation. You will not have any kind of filtration, and you risk to, well, obviously you have the outlet which is full of dust, and the first thing that you can realize that obviously the droplet separator gets clogged, and also obviously the venturi throat gets dirty. So this is when you have the low level. When you have instead a higher level, a too high level of water, let's say that you have an intermittent centrifugal movement, which is, let's say, too strong, which oscillate. There's an sorry, not the correct English word, but let's say that you have all strong movements in terms of the centrifugal, the centrifugation that you have here. So this can lead obviously to bad performance of the filter, and this worse can lead to also some problems in the ventilation part, in the fan part of the filter, because obviously it can give the risk to unbalance the impeller, and worst case scenario also to break the motor of the fan. So this is really key. Basically, we usually the level of the water is starting from the ground more or less 54 centimeters. And but anyway, in any case, you should try and you should see. Let's say that the best way to understand if the filter is working properly is from here. And we have here, I didn't mention this. We have here a video on our YouTube channel. We have also the link. If you have the manual, if you open the manual, there also the QR code you can scan with your phone, and you can see in our YouTube channel which is the correct what you should be seeing here when the filter is working properly. So you will have a layer of water on below. You have a layer of water, and then you have all the water centrifugated in the venturi throat. So basically, well, through other key elements, let's say, first thing, level of water again, but other two key elements that I would like to mention is that we have to clean, obviously, the venturi throat and the droplet separator. Here you have it, okay? You can take a look at it with the hydro cleaner. You can clean it, obviously, and you have to be careful when you mount it back, because you have to, let's say, follow the direction of the arrows that you find here to respect the direction of the flow. Okay, so I think that more or less in terms of functioning, in terms of components, I hope that I've told you something useful. So I would like to leave room for questions if there are any questions. I think that
yes, we already have a couple of questions. Paolo already answered briefly in the chat.
Okay, very good.
They are asking if is it possible to install a water flow meter to the water inlet so that it is possible to understand if the water valve is closed or not, and whether it is necessary to heat the water in the pump venturi. As I said, Paolo already answered, but maybe we can go through this together, and Paolo, you maybe can add something? Or...
Of course. If you can...
Hello? Hello?
Yes, Paolo, we hear you. Okay.
Oh, okay, very good, very good. First, we need to say maybe more precise information according to water consumption. Theoretically, water consumption, it is only because evaporating of water. And so there is water consumption in a very specific condition. Maybe so warm outside, maybe the processes, or centrifugal fan which strip out from drop separator the condensating water. So normally once set the filter, you don't have a huge consumption of water, because water is consumed only by evaporating or centrifugal fan from drop separator. Very often with sludge remover, you have a sludge, so it means dust plus water, and so you can evacuating water also because it is linked to dust by creating sludge. So flow meter can be added, not so often, because not so often we have a huge consumption of water. Okay, this is what I would like to say. The heater, it is important. Our heater already includes a thermo switch, so you can easily set the temperature you would like to obtain. I mean, 3-4 degrees of water, and this heater goes on or off according to the temperature he feels. It is enough only one heater, because as you can imagine, it is very difficult to have freezing during functioning of the filter, because high velocity and centrifugal effect inside the filter does not create condition to easy freeze this water. But during, for example, night stop or stop of shift, you have complete calm, and with outside temperature, you can have a freezing effect. Freezing effect that can be solved by the use of this heater. How much water? More water you have, more time you need to reach the temperature. Our design heater, it is for the hugest size of hydrodust plus the volume of pump. So it means that for lower level, you reach the temperature set in a faster way. So it is enough only one heater. And it is important to install in some cases, because you can imagine, for example, if you have a pump venturi, you have the line of piping which nozzle the water. Okay, if water stay inside this pipe and freeze, you can broken, for example, nozzle, or you can broken valve, or you can broken pump, and so on. So this is important for outside installation. The inner of the filter, ciao Christian, I saw that you asking. The inner of the filter is on the top, and what I saw is that Gianni is the half of the filter. I don't know if he can reach the top of maybe with a ladder. And,
I'm too short.
But it is on the top, and in case of, for example, 100 hydrodynamic filter we have here is for 5,000 cubic meter per hour. We have 350 diameter on the top, already with threaded insert to easy connect pipe flange for customer. Okay.
Okay. I don't know if you can manage to, but they're asking if it is possible to see the inner of the filter.
To see the inner of the filter?
Yes.
I asked my colleague, Daniele, they would like to see the inside of the filter, so we can just fix the camera. Okay, do you see it?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we don't have any more questions at the moment. So I guess your explanation has been really, really clear. And if you have any other questions, you can contact us anyway by email or by phone. And for the moment, that's it, Gianni.
Okay, thank you very much. Also, because I've seen that the battery of my earphones are going low, so I risk that my earphones will die soon. So, but anyway, I'm just joking. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us, to write to us, to call us anytime, anywhere. We have launched, as I mentioned last time, we have launched our web checkup. So, okay, I hope that you're following us on social media, that you have seen our marketing campaign, and I hope that it can be helpful and it can be, let's say, accepted, and we can have good feedback and positive feedback on this. So, okay, thank you again. Once again, thank you again for participating to this new HFiltration webinar. Stay tuned, because on Thursday we have a new webinar on volatile organic compounds on our activated carbon filter. This time, my colleague Matteo will be there because he's the expert in this field. So you will see my colleague Matteo Compagnoni doing the webinar. So I invite you to participate on Thursday to this webinar, and I invite you, as usual, to follow us on social media. Stay tuned. Have a nice day, and proud to be a chat. Bye.